What is up, guys? I hope you're doing fine. In this video I'm gonna show you how to create your own NFT project or collection and basically generate it. I'm going through it step by step, so in the end of this video you should be able to create an NFT collection on your own. And if you're a complete beginner with NFTs, you don't worry because you clicked on the right video, because I'm gonna explain everything as easy as possible, and this method is really easy and you are going to be able to create a 1000+ NFT collection. So stay tuned. So to start with, you obviously need a concept or idea, and what I think you can do to get like some ideas is to just Google animalist, or if you have like a little idea in what kind of direction you want to go with your NFT, you can just Google it and there will be plenty of drawings and different pictures to it. So with this animalist, I chose the topic pigs now because I think some cute adorable pigs, they will sell really good and people will like it. What we are going to do now is just download a random picture of it, or I recommend a drawing because then you kind of already have something and don't need to start from scratch, because you can just take these outlines of the pig, and if you are creating it in this comic art style, it's like really good because you already have an idea how to draw it. What you need next then is some kind of sketching app. I use Medibank Paint. It's a really good app. You can use that too, or anything you like Paint works fine too. But what is important is that you can have some different settings and create different layers. What I'm going to do now is just creating a new project in Medibank Paint. And what's really important is that you have the settings 1000 by 1000 pixels, because we are going to need that for our code we are going to write later on. And then you can just put on the settings you want to and create. So here we got a basic setup. Currently we're on layer 1, and as you can see on the side here, I can create different layers by clicking the plus sign. And yeah, as I said before, it's really important that you can do this too, like I am doing right now with this layer 1, 2 and 3, because we have to layer everything we draw so that the code can put it together afterwards. The first thing I'm going to do now is importing our picture. We downloaded it before, so we can kind of start with sketching and getting our outline or base for this pig done. So I'm just gonna sketch now, and then I will see you guys when I'm done with my base layout, where we are gonna put our things and details on afterwards. As you can see, I'm done with the outline of the pig, where we are going to put the details on. And yeah, from now on it's just creating these different pieces that we are going to put together later. So I will begin with creating the eyes, one pair of eyes, and I'm just going to show you it real quick, and then I'm going to create multiple different details and show you guys in the end what I've done, so that you guys can do it at home too. So what you want to do is create a new layer like I did, or switch to the next layer, and then create your detail, and for me it's the eyes now. And you can basically just sketch out whatever you want, how you want your eyes to look. And I'm already saying you guys probably should put more effort into the drawings, because I'm gonna do it really fast now for the sake of this video, but nobody's gonna like your NFTs if you just put 1 minute of work into your eyes or whatever. So this is just for demonstration. And as you can see, I just copied this layer 2 and created the eyes with different eye colors, and that's what you basically can do with every detail. Just create different colors for it if you have the outline for it. And yeah, I really recommend doing this because you get a much bigger variety, and it's not that much work to just copy it and fill it out with another color. So I'm gonna create the rest of the details now, and then I will be back with explaining what I did and showing how to export it and write the code. As you can see, I'm done with creating all the details now, and I think it turned out fine. And yeah, let's just look at what I've done. So as you can see up here, we have the background right now, and now I can just plug these different things on, like this t-shirt, this skin color, and yeah, as you can see, all those different colors and pieces are in different layers, and I'm just gonna put one detail of everything on there. So one mouth, one eye, one pair of eyes, one nose, so that you can see how it looks. And as I said before, you should probably put more work into it, but I think it looks fine. Also, don't worry about your layers not being in the right order, because we are going to sort that out with code later on. So it doesn't matter in what order you just made these layers in your sketching app, because we are going to export everything separately either way. What's really important when you export your pictures that you just drew is that you have to export every layer separately, otherwise you're just gonna have the whole thing together and the code is not gonna work. And I know it's a pain in the ass because you just have like maybe 50 layers you have to export one by one, but in the end it's worth it because it's just so much faster to create this NFT project with code and these different layers. So I'm basically just exporting everything, everything, and yeah, so click export PNG transparent, that's really important too. And boom, our first layer is exported, and that is what we are going to do with every single layer now. And then we will be back at the PC where we were quickly gonna write some code and put this whole project to an end and put every little puzzle piece together. Now that we have everything set on our PC, like every drawing, we have to download a couple of different things to make this code. And the first thing you are going to need is Visual Studio Code. You can just search it up on Google, and that is just basically where we are going to write the code in. Then you need, the second thing you need is something called Node.js. Again, you can just search it up and download it for your system that you're running on your PC. And yeah, we need that too. Now that you have installed these different applications, you should have your zip file ready here. And then you just double click it and a folder should pop right up. And what we're going to do with this folder is we have to go onto the layer folder inside of this folder. And here we just have the different licenses and that stuff, but that's not important for us. And here we have to sort in our different layers that we just created. So basically what you're going to do is just take one at a time, and I really recommend you like renaming them so that you know with what you're working. And then you just basically create new folders and sort them into these folders, so that you have one for the eyes, one for the background, one for the color of the skin, and for everything. And this is basically how you do it. Just create a new folder like I did, and then rename it. And the name of the folder is really important for code later on. So if you are working with the background, you should really name it background so that you can find it and that the code knows what you are talking about and where it should grab these different layers. Then you can rename your backgrounds to just, get that structure in and know what you're working with. And then you can basically drag and drop them into these folders, and you're going to do that with every single layer, and then we'll be back with our code writing. When you're done putting your layers into these folders, you want to open Visual Studio Code, what we just downloaded, and in Visual Studio you want to open this folder, Generative Art Main, and yeah, then we are ready to code. And what you want to do first is create a new terminal, or maybe a terminal pops up for you, I don't know. And in this terminal, we basically have to download some things first. The first thing we need is something called npm, and we are just gonna say npm install. I'm not gonna do it now because I already did it. And yeah, and the second thing we need is something called npm. We just put npm install again and then install truffle-g. So npm install truffle-g, and we need that too. And yeah, if you just then click enter, it will take a couple of minutes and then you should be all set. And when we have done this, we have to click on the config.js file here in the side, and here you see these different layer orders, and there you see names, and that has to correlate with what we named our folders. So I'm just gonna change it. For example, background is called background for us too, but capital letters matter, so I have to write a capital B, and then on the number you basically just write the number of layers there is in this folder background. For me it's 3 here, but if you have 10 layers you just write 10. So as simple as that. And you do this with every layer, so that every folder with the layers is featured there, and correlates with the code, and there you just change the name and the number. And how many bellies do we have? We have 2 bellies, so I'm just gonna write 2. Next up, ears, number 4, so we are gonna write 4. Then the next thing is eyes, and we have 3 eyes, so we're basically just writing eyes again on the name and then number 3. So as simple as that. And you can always check your folder to see how many of different layers you have in that folder. Then we have 3 heads. Next up is mouth. We have, just call it mouth. Watch out for the spelling because it's important. And we have 3 different mouths, so that's good. Then we have nose. And you can already see we have one more folder than this, and what we're just gonna do is copy the last line of code and paste it in, so we have one more line, and that's absolutely fine. You can do that if you have 10 more folders, you can do that, so it's absolutely no problem. You don't have to have specific amount of folders, so there is no limit. And as I said before, make sure that the folder names match your code. That's really important to remember. Now moving on with format. As we said before, our format was 1000 by 1000 pixels, so we have to change that. Otherwise it's not going to put it in the right order. So width 1000 and height 1000 pixels. And that's pixels. Really important to remember. Now right beneath this format you have rarity, but it's not important for us. We are not going to use it for anything, but this constant default addition is important, and I've set it to 5. And what this is basically how many different layers or NFTs it's going to create. Now that we are done with matching the code to our folders, we have to go back to terminal, and what you want to do is write node. And then we are going to create it with something called index.js. So we are going to write index.js. And then you can just click enter. Oh, and this shouldn't pop up. And I know why this popped up. It's because I forgot to save my file. And it's really important that if you made any changes in the code, that you save your file, because otherwise the system is not going to notice it. Obviously you can see that there's changes, but the program doesn't. And now that we have saved it, we are going to write the same thing. So node index.js, and boom, it's creating 5 different NFTs. So if you just click on the NFT, you can say they are different, and the system just generated them. And as you can see, they are missing their eyes. And that's because the folders were selected in the wrong order, and you can just prevent it by putting a 1 or 2 or 3 in front of each folder. So if you want your background to be chosen first, in front of the background folder, you just put a 1. And you have to rename that separately, and then it should basically just take the right pieces in the right order. The last thing I want to address is it might be that something pops up where it says no canvas installed, and how you can just prevent that from happening, or how you should deal with it, is just to npm install canvas, and then you are basically set. And it didn't happen to me, but I know people where this pops up, and I think it's because I already installed the canvas before, because I had this Visual Studio Code before. And yeah, just make sure that you have that too. And that's basically it with the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned something.